Hi, I'm Sunny. Today's video is about Tai Chi walking. There's been growing awareness of Tai Chi walking, and as a longtime practitioner, it's really encouraging to see. At the same time, it's also important to revisit the core principles and help people understand how this practice truly integrates into broader Tai Chi training and how it carries over into everyday movement, so the benefits aren't just theoretical, but embodied. So in this video, I'm going to share how focusing on Tai Chi walking shaped my own development, both within Tai Chi and across my martial arts practice. Make sure to stay until the end because I'm going to introduce a somewhat unconventional drill that can significantly improve your walking method and overall movement quality. All right, let's get started. All right, let's talk about Tai Chi walking. Tai Chi walking is something that's really popular these days, and a lot more people are talking about it, and I think this is great. I've mentioned this before, that Tai Chi walking was one of the first Tai Chi practices I was introduced to over 20 years ago. I had this really great first teacher who wanted to express to me the Tai Chi principles, how to feel Tai Chi, how to begin to interact with Tai Chi, and how to take Tai Chi outside of the practice space as well. So he just had me do Tai Chi walking for like 30 minutes every practice. And it really sort of developed a space for me to work in. And then when I met my other teachers, they all had Tai Chi walking methods as well. And it was something that I remember when I first learned this, I remember thinking, man, everybody should learn this. This is such a great way to interact with our body, interact with our movement, learn just more about how we're already carrying ourselves around, things about that we're already doing. And then if you're familiar with this sort of Tai Chi concepts and Tai Chi philosophy, it's really useful, fun, and interesting to apply those concepts in other movement areas. It's very useful. But the truth of the matter is, there's no walking in the Tai Chi form. There's actually stances. Everything you're doing in the form is a stance. Here's empty stance, tiger riding stance, climbing the mountain stance. And then we use stepping to step into position for the next stance. And so this connects us to the martial roots of Tai Chi. We remember that Tai Chi was an art that was originally practiced for self-defense and for martial arts purposes, as well as health and more, let's say, philosophical purposes or spiritual purposes, something that connects you inside and out. And so those martial roots inform our practice. It forms how we train, what we do. And so within the form, very little Tai Chi walking. If you look back to the original style of Tai Chi, or one of the original styles of Tai Chi, Chin style, it's really evident. When the transitions are happening, it's very clear that we are moving between stances that are used for techniques. And so when we have our stance there carrying us around, we get more access to strength from center, strength from our hips, strength shifting from one side of the body to the other. And so this is really good for the whole body, learning to move from center to sort of learn to project our whole shape out. And this is very much in alignment with Chinese martial arts origins. Most Chinese martial arts, if not all, are meant to have 4 distinct components: Ti, Da, Shuai, Na. Ti are leg or kicking techniques, Da, striking or arm techniques, Shuai, takedown throws like you might see in judo or Chinese wrestling, and then Na, which is joint techniques, which you might see in like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Aikido. Now, each art is going to maybe have strengths in certain areas. Certain arts are going to focus a lot more in the Ti and the Da, the striking and the kicking, and other arts might be more into the grappling or the takedowns. So wrestling is one of the treasures of Chinese martial arts, and also a big part of Tai Chi, this close-in grappling movements. And to get access to that movement from center, being strong in our space, we need stances. We need to move from center, we need to feel the root, and we need to feel the connection from the ground up. And this is very good for a self-defense based martial art, which what Tai Chi was often trained as, because we want to be strong in our whole body, not just out here at the edges. So being able to move from center, stay connected to our stances, just builds overall physical awareness, overall physical strength and comfort in the body as we're moving. Whether you're training for martial arts purposes, self-defense purposes, or just for the health purposes. It's important to remember that when we take the context of martial arts into our practice a little bit, that keeps us healthy. It keeps us moving with sound mechanics. Because when we look at our stances relative to the needs of, let's say, a technique that would use our whole body like a throw, then the logic of the body and how it moves will be there for us to work with. And we can apply the Tai Chi principles to it. Now, what's with Tai Chi walking then, if it's all about Tai Chi stances? Well, Tai Chi walking is taking now the natural human movement of walking, which is one of our human movements that we can learn from that is unique to how the human animal moves itself around, right? And so by studying walking using Tai Chi principles, we learn more about how we step, how we shift our weight, how we patterned a lot of our basic movement into our body already when we were just learning to walk from a young age without even thinking about it, right? So we use walking to find more connection to our natural movement with whatever drill you're doing, because just slowing down and applying the Tai Chi principles is going to connect you to those natural mechanics of the body. You then can take that process and it's going to affect how you are using your body to find stances and to transition your shape between stances in your Tai Chi, because it's going to feel like walking. It's going to feel as easy as walking to transition into a stance. And that is how we bring more ease into our practice. And so the idea of Tai Chi walking has been around for a long time in Tai Chi, because remember, we have our 4 treasures of Qigong: standing, sitting, sleeping, and walking. And these are basically 4 human positions or 4 human movements. And so if we learn to connect to them more actively and more intentionally, we get a lot more benefits. We take the benefits of Tai Chi with us out of the form. They're not just there in the form, and the form becomes something that has more layers to it as well. We know that there's stances, we know that there's a full body projection going on, but we also know that we're connecting to just basic mechanics: standing, stepping, walking, because that's what translates ease into our movement, because walking should be good and easy and fun. So Tai Chi walking, right? Standalone practice, it could be a supplemental practice, it could be a supporting, complementary practice. It's a tool that we can use to get deeper into our body, but it's important to remember the role that it plays in the practice as a whole, whether you are deep into your Tai Chi form training, okay? Or you're just wanting to integrate some basic Tai Chi practices into your already existing health and wellness routine, which Tai Chi walking then becomes a great bridge or a great practice that can help you take a part of the Tai Chi practice and start working with it right away and getting some benefits right away. Whereas if we start getting into the form, this is a longer term study because there's more technical details, there's a lot more refinement with how the hands are moving with our stances, and there's a lot of different stances that we can work on. And so walking helps us simplify and also progress our practice over time. So that's a little bit more about Tai Chi walking, maybe something that we hadn't thought about or you didn't know about Tai Chi walking, right? The fact that it's not really in the form. I find it really interesting myself, and I'll be honest, it's not something that I clued into for a while either. I mean, it was there in the practice, but I thought, wait a minute, we're definitely not walking. These are all stances that we're doing, right? Tai Chi walking is its own practice that helps our main practice or just gets us moving more in our space. Before we continue, I'd like to invite you to a 7-day Tai Chi and Qigong challenge. We offer a free trial where you can explore a wide range of thoughtfully structured Tai Chi and Qigong courses and experience the practice at your own pace. Check out the link below whenever you're ready. Now let's get back to the topic. All right, I'm gonna teach you a drill that's gonna help you energize your walking a little bit, maybe even help you upgrade it a little bit. This is a drill that we're gonna borrow from Shuaijiao, which is Chinese wrestling. And so this is a drill that we do in Chinese wrestling that builds a better root. Meaning, when you're doing a wrestling art, you don't want to be thrown. You got to stay standing, right? You don't want to end up on the ground. And so we build a root. And this is one of our drills. It's called Gui Tui, which means kneeling leg. And it's going to remind you a little bit of maybe a rooster or a dog. Okay, so you're going to have your hands out in front of you about shoulder height or a little lower, like this. And you're going to curve the legs, bringing the heel towards your hip, towards your butt, okay? Now, if you look from the side, we want there to be a little scrape. You can see I'm doing this little scrape on the ground. And as I scrape, I pull my foot. And I'm not going crazy. I'm just doing a little bit. I want to feel the energy, scrape and lift, scrape, lift, scrape, lift, scrape, lift. And if you can see my transfer of weight, I don't want this to happen. This is me just levering myself around. I want to feel myself pick this foot up and have to put it back down. Pick it up, put it down. So you notice, if I don't put it back down, that would go down. This is why it's called kneeling leg. Gui Tui means kneeling leg. You instinctively transition the weight from one hip to the other when you kneel, okay? As soon as you kneel, you would just naturally do it. So we want to feel this kneeling energy that transfers the weight and gets you connecting across. And so to do that, you got to find the foot, like that. And you can lean just a little bit into it forward so you feel even more encouragement to get that foot down and back. It creates that sensation of having to ground our movement. So you do about 20 of these, sinking in. You notice I'm sitting down in my hips, and then relax it, shake it out. And now when you walk, notice the action at my knee, right? I can feel that a little bit more intentionally as you're walking. So you can feel this root transitioning the step, transitioning the step, transitioning the step. And you're gonna feel that coming up from the ground. So one simple exercise that we borrow from Shuai Jiao that's gonna help you with your walk. We do this in Shuai Jiao so that if you feel your feet are trapped on the ground, you can easily pick it up and put it back down. You don't have to shift your whole weight just to move your foot out from an obstacle. Instead, you can just lift it up and keep moving. And so this is a really great drill, regardless of what art you're practicing. Keep it easy and light. We want to feel it working down here. We don't want to feel the big crazy pull, just easy. Watch a chicken or watch a dog to get a good lesson on how to do this. So have fun with it and feel it energize your step. If you enjoyed today's practice, check out the other Tai Chi stick routines designed to further support your balance, alignment, and mobility.